Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for the 25th of October. All right. Now, coming into Thursday's trading, I wasn't wrong yesterday with the outlook for the day. The real trading week started yesterday with the first major releases coming out. Now, we had German and Eurozone manufacturing PMI data coming out. Both of those numbers came out weak. We saw the direct weakness in the euro, and this leads into today's ECB meeting as well. You know, that sort of weakness in the general economy. Not that these data is just yesterday, but overall, Europe is stagnant. We've got the Italians blowing up. They want to spend more money on their budget. The EU saying they can't. So there's a lot of negativity here, and those manufacturing numbers were enough to really put the cat amongst the pigeons and give some downside pressure to euro. Now, I'll show you something in a minute, but euro has got potential, to me, to be heading back towards 110 pretty quickly. And this could all very quickly snowball into a big US dollar drive. Aussie, it's sort of whipping about the place. There is a little bit of downside immediate sentiment coming in, but you know what, still trading sideways overall. It's pretty much the same for the Kiwi, even though it has broken down through sort of 65.45 support. Dollar yen just banging away sideways. The dollar drifting lower, which suggests there's a bit of a concern around global growth. And I'll show you the US equity markets down like 2.5% for the Dow Jones, and NASDAQ down 4.6%. So a lot of nerves, a lot of nervous equity traders out there as well. Now, sterling, Brexit, okay, it's still ongoing. Now, this is broken down sort of technically, but fundamentally the numbers, inflation's very high, wage growth's very high in the UK. It's been pushed down by the geopolitical situation of Brexit. Would have also been some sort of correlation there with the move down in the euro. But to me, this thing could ricochet back to 130 very quickly. So it's still too hard for my liking. Now, the last but not least of the majors where there was major activity, CAD. Now, the Bank of Canada, this is actually really, I thought it was a pretty low chance for what they did. They raised rates by 0.25%, which, yeah, you see an immediate move down. And that was pretty much factored in. But what they did is they took out a key part of their statement, which was the gradual pace of hikes. They took that out. And the market, I think, misread the situation and thought they're going to keep raising rates very aggressively. Now, they have signaled that they are going to be raising rates, but I think the market got a little bit carried away with itself, banging it down from 130.80 down to 129.60. And then you've seen the US dollar sort of rally across the board. And with a bit of another look at the statement, I think a lot of traders started to close out those positions. So dollar CAD trading sideways in a big range, but definitely with a further downward bias. Looking at the major pairs here, I mean the two big currencies at the moment, or the dollar index. I was going to say dollar index and dollar yuan. Now these are two, like the big trade war sort of pairs. Now, the dollar index, of course, with the move down in euro and sterling, the two major components of the basket, saw the dollar index punch through 96.20. They could go up to 100 pretty quickly as well, even though the move slightly fundamental on the back of the weak European data. But, you know, what you would really like to see is something more following on from this. And this is where the ECB meeting today, interest rate decision, press conference, and also the US durable goods comes out. If we get, say, neutral to dovish ECB, we get strong US numbers, well, then this thing's going to shoot through the roof. The dollar yuan, offshore yuan, still banging away. It's slowly climbing, but it's having massive pullbacks. This thing trades in a 200-point range most days, so just keep an eye on that. But at the moment, it's very hard to sort of put together what's going on. The key part is Aussie and Kiwi. The correlation there is broken down significantly. Now, here's the equity markets, okay? US equities, as I said, Dow Jones down 2.4%, NASDAQ 4.6%. It's going to put a little bit of a sea of red across all global equity markets coming into today's trading. You've got to expect that. Now, just want to scroll up here and just give you a look at these. I had the German numbers as the main ones yesterday, and they are the first release. These are the flash PMI numbers, weaker than expected, and that was the catalyst for the major move on euro. And that was further backed up half an hour later by the Eurozone numbers, which were also weaker than expected. So that was the key catalyst, and that got the US dollar rolling. There's also talk about global growth. If Europe sort of slowing down, and that's put down to the reasoning why equity markets have been hit. But there's been a lot of hype in the media around, the equity markets looking for a major correction. There's a lot of rumblings in the background. So just got to keep an eye on this as we go forward. Now, just having a look at the major news out here. Dollar CAD notches 1 week highs, prospect of faster rates. Yep, that's sure. That is, they're even looking at a December rate hike in Canada, even though oil is falling. You got May still dealing with Brexit. Now they're talking about the bit of US dollar strength here on the weakness of Wall Street, like a safe haven purchase of the US dollar. I don't think that's the case just at the moment. I think it's more the euro and sterling going down, just pushing the dollar up. But we may see that flight to the US dollar safe haven if things kick into gear, and it could potentially happen today. And this is what I'm looking at is, if you come back into the MyFX Trading Hub, just coming down here, we do have some Kiwi trade balance numbers out now. I've highlighted this as a potential impact, primarily because of the way the currencies are moving at the moment. They're a bit jittery on the back of all these geopolitical situations. But we are starting to move towards more of a fundamental situation today, and this is where the ECB comes into play. Now, we've got the euro on the back foot. We've also got the US durable goods. This is what I was talking about. We could get a quick 1-2 here and really see some big moves. Now, if the ECB, I think Mario is going to stay on track, but if for some reason there was some sort of negative comments about whether the Italians came into it or growth or whatever it was, then we would see euro take a real tumble, and that would see the US dollar rally. At the same time, if we saw strength in the US durable goods, this number here comes out at the same time as the ECB press conference. So a little bit of a clash there, although you'll know the result of the durable goods straight away, and then you can start watching the press conference. But so there's room here. The US dollar has got very clear technical direction right at the moment. So if we get confirmation from any of these fundamental releases, the ECB or the US numbers, we're going to see some really good trading opportunities. And I know a lot of traders jumped on that euro yesterday. Well done on that one. So to me, the outlook, technically, hourlies, dailies, weeklies for the euro is down. And I'll show you where this thing could go potentially towards 110 in a second. The US dollar, once again, across all time frames, is pushing technically to the top side. There's a little bit of concern because some of this is geopolitical, but it is moving higher and it's taken dollar Swiss with it. The Aussie and Kiwi, these things are just going for the ride. Now, sterling is broken down, that's for sure, but the fundamental aspects of it are still strong. With Brexit involved, it could shoot up 200 points or even go down another 100. It's a bit too hard to call. And our poor little friend, the dollar yen, is just jamming sideways. I think overall on dollar CAD, we are going to see, there's going to be further pressure on the downside or top side for the CAD. That means a lower dollar CAD, but oil is falling at the same time. That may counteract that hawkish tone from the Bank of Canada as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go. But the two key prospects, or the key one for me, is euro. Right? We've got a bearish sentiment here. And as I said, if I just show you the chart, I want to show you the technical aspect here, because this could very easily, as I said, fall off the precipice. Now, if I'm just looking at these charts in front of you now, these are the hourly charts. So this is where traders can get distracted by the noise. You see all these sort of price action, a bit all over the place. It's hard to see what's going on. You can see Euro's broken down here through a few levels, but you can't really see what the devil in the detail. If you come over to the daily charts, if I just come over the text, I've got those same major currency pairs on the dailies here. You see the Aussie still sort of cruising to the downside, a lot of sideways activity at the moment. Kiwi looks like it's a bit lackluster. Dollar yen stalling, very close to sort of breaking down. But and then obviously you've got sterling. It's broken down, as I said, on the technicals, but it's a bit of a basket case. Dollar CAD sideways. Now euro here, you can see it's broken down through a couple of levels here. But what you really need to do is go into the chart and have a look where these lines come from. These are big support trend lines. Okay, if you have a look here, going back to 2016, below here around 103.37. If I just get rid of that first one, you'll see it's got 1, 2, it's come up with a third touch, and it's just sliced straight through at 114, sort of 13, 15, around, or 10, 15 level. This break of this trend line, now don't forget, this is where you piece the fundamentals and the technicals together. We've got the break here. We've got the ECB meeting today. Now, if they, as I said, are neutral to dovish, this thing here will fall, and there's no support levels sort of anywhere close by. If anything, you've got this previous low at 113. To me, it's heading down towards potentially 110 or lower. And that's especially if this global growth situation or concerns about global growth continue to escalate. That's because the US dollar will go up as a safe haven and the rest of the currencies will come off. So this is a pretty, could be the start of a really good trading opportunity on Euro, like a longer term trade. So make sure you check that out on your daily charts there as well. It's got plenty of potential. All right, guys, that's pretty much it from me. You've got a pretty good roundup there. As I said, follow the technicals. It's the first time in a while that we do have, you know, some specific direction, especially on the two big major pairs, like the dollar index, especially the euro, the biggest traded pair, really gives us aim to focus at. And the best thing is, with those pairs that do have direction, okay, we've got very clear or very big, important data, especially that ECB meeting. Right, the press conference is going to be extremely lively, and keep an eye on those US durable goods. That's where the action is going to be. All right, guys, good trading conditions overall for the euro, and we'll see how this plays out. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll see you in the live trade zone. Cheerio.